The conclusion that the Russian state was probably involved in the murder of Mr. Litvinenko is deeply disturbing.
In the heart of Russia's political epicenter lies a man shrouded in mystery, power, and controversy. Today's video, we take you on a journey inside the secret life of the most powerful man in Russia and one of the most influential figures of our time. From his early days in the KGB to his rise as Russia's president, join us as we peel back the layers of secrecy surrounding Putin's life and uncover the truth behind the headlines. The enigmatic persona.
What do you think of Vladimir Putin?
Отличный человек.
Но мне кажется, он для России делает очень много.
Долгих лет ему жизни, здоровья.
The world of politics is no stranger to larger-than-life figures, but few have captured the imagination quite like Vladimir Putin. From his strongman image to his controversial policies, Putin has cultivated a cult of personality that both fascinates and frightens. Vladimir Putin, the enigmatic leader of Russia, has long been a subject of fascination for both his supporters and critics. His journey to the pinnacle of Russian politics began in the late 1990s. After holding various positions in the city administration of St. Petersburg, he made his move to Moscow, where he quickly rose through the ranks. In 1999, Putin was appointed as the acting prime minister, and later that year he became the president of Russia. Putin's presidency has been marked by economic growth, conflicts with separatist groups, and a shift towards authoritarianism. He has faced criticism for corruption, human rights violations, and the lack of free and fair elections. But despite these controversies, Putin has maintained a strong base of support in Russia. One event that significantly impacted Putin's cult of personality was the Moscow theater hostage crisis in 2002. Chechen separatists took over a theater in Moscow, holding hundreds of people hostage. Putin's response to the crisis was swift and decisive. He ordered a rescue operation, which resulted in the deaths of both the terrorists and many of the hostages. While the operation was successful in ending the crisis, it also raised questions about Putin's commitment to human rights and the rule of law. Between 2000 and 2004, Putin focused on rebuilding the country and reaching a grand bargain with the Russian oligarchs. He acknowledged the negative effects of the collapse of the Soviet Union and implemented projects to improve healthcare, education, housing, and agriculture. These efforts were aimed at restoring stability and improving the lives of ordinary Russians. However, Putin's cult of personality was not without controversy. One of the most significant events during his presidency was the prosecution of Mikhail Khodorkovsky, the wealthiest man in Russia at the time. Khodorkovsky, the former head of the oil company Yukos, was charged with fraud and tax evasion. Many saw the prosecution as politically motivated, aimed at silencing a powerful critic of Putin's regime. In 2012, Putin won a third term as president, marking a shift towards a more assertive and aggressive foreign policy. His annexation of Crimea in 2014 and military intervention in Syria in 2015 drew international condemnation and led to sanctions against Russia. These actions further solidified Putin's image as a strong and uncompromising leader. In recent years, Putin has faced yet another challenge, the COVID-19 pandemic. He has implemented measures to protect Russians and provide support to other countries. While his response to the pandemic has garnered both praise and criticism, it has further cemented his position as a leader who can navigate through crises. Throughout his presidency, Putin has implemented a vertical power structure, making changes to the political system and limiting the direct election of heads of federal subjects. He has faced protests and criticism for his handling of elections and restrictions on freedom of assembly and media. In terms of the economy, Putin oversaw a period of growth fueled by high oil prices, but also faced challenges such as the 2014 financial crisis and international sanctions. On the international stage, Putin's presidency has been marked by the Russo-Ukrainian crisis, including the annexation of Crimea and the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine. These actions have led to widespread condemnation and sanctions against Russia. Putin has also pursued closer ties with Asian countries, maintained a sphere of influence over post-Soviet states, and experienced tensions with the United States and NATO. Since the early 2000s, Russia has been investing heavily in its military and defense industry, leading to a full-scale military reform in 2008. Putin has focused on modernizing the Russian armed forces, increasing nuclear capabilities, and asserting territorial claims in the Arctic. These actions have further solidified his image as a strong and assertive leader. However, Putin's cult of personality is not without its critics. His human rights policies, media control, and promotion of conservative values have drawn international scrutiny.
Tightening the grip over media was one of the first things that he did, and also the lack of genuine opposition, because his critics either have been in exile or dead or facing prosecution.
Many argue that his authoritarian tendencies and disregard for democratic principles undermine the foundations of a free and open society. As Putin assumed the role of president in the year 2000, he made it clear that he sought to rebuild a weakened Russia. However, his methods of achieving this goal were far from conventional. One of the first areas he targeted was the media. Putin understood the power of controlling information and shaping public opinion. He wasted no time in asserting his dominance. In his inauguration speech, Putin emphasized the need for a strongly regulated market economy and an end to corruption. But behind these seemingly noble intentions, a darker agenda was at play. Putin saw the media as a tool to consolidate his power and silence dissenting voices. Putin's first move was to confront the oligarchs, the powerful media tycoons who held significant influence over the Russian media landscape. He made it clear that their positions were conditional on their loyalty to him and their abstention from politics. Several media outlets were closed down and criminal proceedings were launched against leading figures. One of the most notable examples was the closure of NTV, a major independent television network. NTV had been critical of Putin's government, and its closure sent shockwaves through the media industry. This move served as a warning to other media organizations that dissent would not be tolerated. With the closure of NTV, Putin's control over the media tightened even further. He understood that controlling the narrative was crucial to maintaining his power. Putin's government began to renationalize key industries, ensuring that the state had a significant stake in the media landscape. By some estimates, the state came to control as much as 70% of the Russian economy. State control over the media allowed Putin to shape the narrative and control the flow of information. Journalists who dared to challenge the official line faced intimidation, harassment, and even imprisonment. The message was clear: toe the line or face the consequences. Despite the risks, some brave journalists continued to speak out against Putin's control over the media. They exposed corruption, human rights abuses, and government propaganda, but their voices were often drowned out by the overwhelming dominance of state-controlled media. Putin's government launched extensive propaganda campaigns to shape public opinion. State-controlled media outlets portrayed Putin as a strong and decisive leader, while dissenting voices were labeled as enemies of the state. The narrative surrounding Putin's public image was carefully crafted to maintain his popularity and control over the Russian people. Putin's control over Russian media reached new heights during his second term as president. He continued to tighten his grip, leaving little room for independent voices to be heard. The media landscape became a battleground, with Putin's government using every tool at its disposal to maintain control. One area that Putin targeted was the internet. Recognizing its potential as a platform for dissent and free expression, Putin's government implemented strict regulations and surveillance measures. Online platforms were monitored, and individuals who criticized the government faced severe consequences. Journalists and activists who dared to challenge Putin's control over the media became targets of harassment and intimidation. Many faced trumped-up charges and were imprisoned for their efforts to expose the truth. The message was clear: anyone who threatened Putin's grip on power would be silenced. State-controlled news broadcasts became the primary source of information for the Russian people. They were carefully crafted to promote Putin's agenda and maintain his popularity. The narrative surrounding Putin's public image was carefully curated, presenting him as a strong and decisive leader while downplaying any criticism or dissent. Early life and rise to power. Vladimir Putin was born on October 7, 1952 in Leningrad, a city known for its rich history and cultural heritage. Growing up in a modest apartment, Putin's childhood was marked by the hardships and resilience that defined the Soviet era. His parents, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin and Maria Ivanovna Shalomova, played a significant role in shaping his values and work ethic. His father served in the Soviet Navy during World War II, while his mother worked in a factory. Their experiences during the war instilled in young Putin a deep sense of patriotism and a commitment to serving his country. As a child, Putin displayed a keen interest in sports, particularly judo and sambo. He was known for his discipline and dedication, traits that would later become synonymous with his leadership style. Putin's passion for physical activities not only shaped his physique, but also instilled in him a competitive spirit and a drive for excellence. Putin attended a local school in Leningrad, where he excelled academically. He was a diligent student, known for his thirst for knowledge and his ability to grasp complex subjects. His teachers recognized his potential and encouraged him to pursue higher education. After completing his secondary education, Putin enrolled at Leningrad State University, where he studied law. It was during his university years that he first became involved in politics, joining the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. This early exposure to politics would lay the foundation for his future career. Outside of his studies, Putin enjoyed spending time with his friends, engaging in intellectual discussions, and exploring the vibrant cultural scene of Leningrad. These experiences broadened his horizons and nurtured his curiosity about the world beyond the borders of the Soviet Soviet Union. Upon graduating in 1975, Putin embarked on a career in the KGB, the Soviet Union's main security agency. He underwent rigorous training, honing his skills in intelligence gathering and espionage. His time in the KGB would shape his worldview and provide him with invaluable insights into the workings of power and influence. In 1985, Putin was assigned to work as an intelligence officer in Dresden, East Germany. This posting coincided with a period of significant geopolitical shifts, including the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union. These events had a profound impact on Putin, shaping his understanding of global politics and the importance of a strong Russia. In 1991, Putin returned to Leningrad and became involved in local politics. He joined the government of St. Petersburg, serving as the deputy mayor under Anatoly Sobchak. This experience allowed him to gain practical knowledge in governance and administration, laying the groundwork for his future leadership roles. Putin's dedication and competence caught the attention of Boris Yeltsin, the president of Russia at the time. In 1999, Yeltsin appointed Putin as the Prime Minister of Russia, marking the beginning of his meteoric rise to power. In the late 1990s, Russia was at a crossroads. The nation faced economic turmoil, political instability, and a loss of international influence. It was during this challenging time that Vladimir Putin, a former KGB foreign intelligence officer, emerged as a rising star in Russian politics. Let's explore Putin's early political career and his remarkable rise to the position of Prime Minister in 1999. Putin's journey began in St. Petersburg, where he entered politics after leaving his role in the KGB. He quickly rose through the ranks, showcasing his intelligence and determination. In 1996, he became the deputy mayor of St. Petersburg, working alongside Anatoly Sobchak, the city's mayor at the time. This experience provided Putin with valuable insights into the inner workings of local government and laid the foundation for his future political ambitions. Putin's reputation as a competent and efficient leader grew, catching the attention of President Boris Yeltsin. In August 1999, Yeltsin appointed Putin as the Prime Minister of Russia, a move that surprised many both within the country and abroad. Putin's appointment came at a critical time, as Russia was grappling with a series of challenges that threatened its stability. One of the most shocking events that occurred during Putin's early tenure as Prime Minister was a series of bombings that rocked apartment buildings in Moscow, Buynaksk and Volgodonsk in September 1999. These devastating attacks, attributed to Chechen separatists, resulted in the loss of hundreds of innocent lives. The nation was left in a state of shock and fear. Putin swiftly responded to the crisis, declaring a state of emergency in Chechnya and launching a military campaign against the separatists. His decisive action and tough stance on terrorism resonated with the Russian people, who were desperate for stability and security. Putin's promise to restore order and protect the nation struck a chord with the population, and his popularity soared. As Prime Minister, Putin focused on rebuilding Russia's economy and consolidating his power. He recognized the need for stability and sought to establish a grand bargain with the country's powerful oligarchs. This controversial agreement allowed the oligarchs to maintain their wealth and influence in exchange for their support of Putin's government. Despite criticism over this arrangement, Putin argued that it was a necessary step to stabilize the economy and gain the support of influential figures. This move shocked the nation, as it seemed to contradict Putin's promise to fight corruption and promote equality. However, Putin's ability to navigate the complex web of Russian politics and strike a balance between competing interests solidified his position as a formidable leader. Behind closed doors. Looking at his romantic life, Putin and Lyudmila, his ex-wife's story began in the 1980s when they met after being invited to see a play by a mutual friend. Little did they know that their lives would become intertwined in a complex web of power, secrecy, and ultimately divorce. The couple's marriage lasted for 3 decades, but behind closed doors, cracks began to appear. In 2014, Putin and Lyudmila shocked the world when they announced their divorce. The news sent shockwaves through Russian society, as the couple had been seen as a symbol of stability and unity. The official reason given for the divorce was that they barely saw each other due to Putin's demanding work schedule. Lyudmila explained, "Our marriage is over due to the fact that we barely see each other. Vladimir is completely submerged in his work. Our children have grown up. Each of them is living her own life. I truly don't like publicity." The couple had 2 daughters together, Maria Vorontsova and Katerina Tikhonova. However, their daughters rarely made public appearances and remained shielded from the media spotlight. Putin, known for his tough and macho image, had carefully crafted a public persona that portrayed him as a strong and powerful leader. He often posed for photo opportunities in which he showcased his physical prowess, whether it be riding horses bare-chested or engaging in outdoor activities. But behind the scenes, the strains of a failing marriage were taking their toll. The divorce marked a turning point in Putin's personal life, as he sought to distance himself from the public scrutiny that came with being in a high-profile relationship. Today, Putin and Lyudmila lead separate lives, with Lyudmila choosing to maintain a a low profile and stay out of the public eye. Their divorce is rarely spoken about in Russian media, as if it is a closely guarded secret. The secrecy surrounding the divorce is not surprising, considering Putin's background as a former KGB operative. He is known to avoid risks and protect his family and private life at any cost. Since the divorce, Putin has been linked to several women, including Svetlana Krivonogich, a Russian millionaire, and former Olympic gold medal-winning gymnast Alina Kabaeva. However, any discussion of these alleged relationships appears to be forbidden in Russia, adding to the intrigue and speculation surrounding Putin's personal life. Putin's palace, also known as Cape Edokpus Palace, is a sprawling complex located on the Black Sea coast near Gelendzhik in southern Russia's Krasnodar Krai. Its existence was first disclosed back in 2010 by whistleblower Sergei Kolesnikov, but information about what goes on inside has remained a closely guarded secret. Kolesnikov's revelations sparked a wave of speculation and controversy. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny's non-profit FBK even published a documentary titled Putin's Palace: History of the World's Largest Bribe, although the Kremlin vehemently denied Putin's ownership. Several Russian oligarchs, including Alexander Pomerenko, Alexei Vasilyuk, and Arkady Rottenberg, have claimed ownership of the mansion, but the truth remains elusive. To shed light on this mystery, independent Russian journalist Roman Badanin, who fled the country after receiving death threats, shared exclusive information about Putin's luxurious lifestyle and the secrets hidden within the walls of his palace. Badanin's investigation revealed that Putin often arrives at the palace by armored train, his preferred mode of travel. But what lies beyond the heavily guarded gates? Leaked photos obtained by Badanin offer a rare glimpse into the opulent interior of Putin's mansion. From his office to his bedroom, every corner is adorned with gold. The dining room is a sight to behold, with a chandelier in the shape of a ball adorned with golden leaves. Another chandelier descends 3 stories covered in gold and rubies. These images, first shared by independent Russian media outlet Prokt, shed light on the extravagant lifestyle Putin leads behind closed doors. But the controversy doesn't end with the mansion itself. Reports suggest that Putin built a separate residence for his alleged mistress, Alina Kabaeva, and their children near a boat dock and a secret railway to the main palace. Construction of Kabaeva's residence began in 2020, and according to the reports, the homes are located near a massive spa complex that boasts a solarium, cryotherapy chambers, a swimming pool, mudroom, sauna, and cosmetic treatment and dentistry areas. The report also uncovered that Kabaeva owns Russia's largest penthouse and holds around $120 million in real estate. These shocking revelations have only fueled the speculation surrounding Putin's personal life. Putin's obsession with secrecy is well known, and his relationship with Kabaeva is no exception. While his inner circle is aware of their connection, none of them have ever seen them together. The secrecy surrounding Putin's personal life, particularly his relationship with Kabaeva, has become a taboo subject in Russia. It is believed that Putin's love for his life of luxury and his desire to protect his family and private life at any cost are the reasons behind this obsession with secrecy. Alina Kabaeva, a former Olympic gold medalist in rhythmic gymnastics, has been the subject of intense speculation and rumors regarding her relationship with Putin. While neither Putin nor Kabaeva has confirmed their involvement, the evidence suggests a deep connection between the two. According to reports, Putin built a separate residence for Kabaeva and their children near a boat dock and a secret railway to the main palace. This construction began in 2020, further fueling the speculation surrounding their relationship. The secrecy surrounding Putin's personal life extends to his relationship with Kabaeva. Roman Badanin, the independent Russian journalist who fled the country, revealed that Putin's inner circle is aware of their connection, but none of them have ever seen them together. Putin's obsession with secrecy regarding his personal life, particularly his relationship with Kabaeva, has become a taboo subject in Russia. The level of secrecy surrounding their connection is unprecedented, even for a man known for his guarded private life. The Russian media has been strictly prohibited from discussing Putin's personal relationships, and any attempts to do so have been met with swift consequences. The Kremlin's control over the narrative surrounding Putin's personal life is undeniable. Despite the secrecy, rumors continue to circulate about Kabaeva and her alleged role in Putin's life. Some reports suggest that Kabaeva and her children left Russia in case the war in Ukraine escalated further and they needed a safe haven. Kabaeva's influence extends beyond her alleged relationship with Putin. She is reported to own Russia's largest penthouse and holds around $120 million in real estate, making her a powerful figure in her own right. The significance of Kabaeva's presence in Putin's life goes beyond personal matters. Some experts argue that her existence, along with their alleged children, serves as a guarantee for world peace. The theory suggests that Putin's love for his life of luxury would prevent him from starting a nuclear war. The truth behind Putin's relationship with Kabaeva remains shrouded in secrecy. Away from his romantic interest and pursuits, we delve into his interests in sports, specifically judo. Putin's passion for judo extended beyond training and into the realm of competitive sports. Throughout his judo career, he participated in various tournaments, showcasing his skills and determination on a grand stage. One of Putin's notable achievements came in 1975 when he won the Leningrad City Judo Championship in the 62 kg weight category. This victory marked the beginning of a series of successes for Putin in the world of competitive judo. In the following years, Putin continued to make his mark in the sport, participating in regional and national competitions. His technical prowess and strategic approach to matches earned him a reputation as a formidable opponent. Putin's dedication to his craft was evident in every bout, as he displayed a combination of skill, agility, and mental fortitude. One of the most memorable moments in Putin's judo career came in 2000 when he was awarded the 8th Dan, the second highest rank in judo. This prestigious recognition highlighted his exceptional mastery of the art form and solidified his status as a respected figure in the judo community. Geopolitical implications. One of the defining moments of Putin's foreign policy during this period was the annexation of Crimea in 2014. This move sent shockwaves through the international community and marked a major shift in Russia's relations with the West. Putin justified the annexation by claiming that it was necessary to protect the rights of ethnic Russians in Crimea. However, it was widely seen as a violation of international law and resulted in economic sanctions being imposed on Russia. The annexation of Crimea was followed by Russian military intervention in Ukraine, particularly in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk. This intervention, which began in 2014, has resulted in a protracted conflict that has claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions of people. Russia's support for separatist movements in Ukraine has further strained its relations with the West and led to additional economic sanctions. Another significant event during this period was Russia's military intervention in Syria, which began in 2015. By propping up the regime of President Bashar al-Assad, Putin was able to establish a military presence in the Middle East and assert Russia's influence in the region. This move was seen as a direct challenge to the United States and its allies and further escalated tensions between Russia and the West. The impact of these foreign policy decisions on Russia's economy has been significant. The economic sanctions imposed by the West, coupled with declining oil prices, have had a detrimental effect on the country's economic growth. Russia's GDP contracted and inflation soared, leading to a decline in living standards for many Russians. The 2014 financial crisis further exacerbated these economic challenges. Furthermore, these events have strained Russia's relations with the international community, particularly with the United States and NATO. Tensions have escalated over issues such as NATO expansion and missile defense systems. Putin has expressed concerns about the expansion of NATO and has suspended Russia's obligations under the Treaty on Conventional Armed Forces in Europe. This has led to increased military activity in the region, including large-scale military exercises and the deployment of advanced missile defense systems. In addition to these key events, Putin's foreign policy during this period has also been marked by a desire to assert Russia's dominance in its traditional sphere of influence, particularly in the post-Soviet states. Russia has maintained positive relations with Asian states and has emphasized its sphere of influence in the region. However, tensions with neighboring countries such as Georgia and Poland have persisted. Putin's foreign policy has also been characterized by a promotion of conservative policies and a close collaboration with the Russian Orthodox Church. This has led to a strengthening of traditional values within Russia and a pushback against Western liberal ideals. Putin's third term also saw Russian military intervention in Syria. Russia's involvement in the Syrian civil war in support of President Bashar al-Assad shifted the balance of power in the region and further complicated the geopolitical landscape. Throughout his presidency, Putin implemented various policies and reforms in Russia. He focused on creating a vertical power structure, consolidating industries under state control, and prioritizing energy policies, such as signing deals with China for natural gas supply. However, his presidency was not without challenges. The 2014 financial crisis and international sanctions took a toll on Russia's economy, and Putin faced criticism for his human rights record and restrictions on political freedoms. Despite these challenges, Putin remained popular among many Russians, and in 2018, he won the presidential election for a fourth term. He proposed constitutional amendments that could potentially extend his political power beyond 2024. Putin's impact on Russia and the international community cannot be underestimated. His assertive foreign policy, controversial domestic policies, and influence on global events have shaped the geopolitical landscape and continue to be subjects of debate and analysis. In order to understand how other world leaders perceive Vladimir Putin, we must first examine some of his early encounters that shaped his image on the international stage. One such encounter took place in 2009 during Putin's visit to the World Economic Forum in Davos. The Russian leader was fielding questions from a small group of international journalists in the restaurant of a modest hotel when one particular query seemed to irritate him. As As the American journalist posed his question, Putin stared back at him, his piercing gaze capturing the attention of everyone in the room. With a slow and deliberate tone, Putin responded, "I'll answer that question in a minute. But first, let me ask you about the extraordinary ring you have on your finger." All heads turned towards the journalist, and a few nervous giggles filled the room. Putin continued, adopting a tone of mock sympathy. "You surely don't mind me asking, because you wouldn't be wearing something like that unless you were trying to draw attention to yourself, right?" The room erupted in laughter, and the original question was forgotten. It was a masterclass in distraction and bullying, showcasing Putin's ability to control a narrative and manipulate his audience. This encounter was just one example of Putin's early interactions with journalists and opinion formers that shaped his perception by other world leaders. Despite the violence demonstrated by his Russian government in Chechnya and Georgia, many in the West still treated him as a pantomime villain. They saw him as a character to be mocked and underestimated, rather than a serious threat to global stability. This perception persisted even as Putin's actions became increasingly aggressive and assertive. In a televised meeting at the Kremlin with his closest advisors, Putin toyed with Sergei Narishkin, the head of his foreign intelligence service, making the feared securocrat look like a stuttering fool. The pleasure he took in humiliating someone in front of an audience was once again on display. However, this time, nobody was laughing. Little did the world know that Putin was about to plunge Europe into its biggest land war since 1945.
I just spoke with the G7 leaders this morning, and we're in full and total agreement. Putin chose this war, and today I'm authorizing additional strong sanctions and new limitations on what can be exported to Russia.
On February 24, 2022, Russian troops launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, catching many experienced Putin watchers off guard. Despite warnings from Western intelligence services that Russia was poised to attack, these observers refused to believe it. After more than 20 years of Putin's leadership, they felt they understood him. They believed he was ruthless and violent, but also rational, calculating, and committed to Russia's integration into the world economy. Few believed he was capable of such a reckless gamble. Looking back, it is clear that the outside world consistently misread Putin. From the moment he took power, outsiders saw what they wanted to see and played down the darkest sides of Putinism. They indulged him, turning a blind eye to his excesses and underestimating his true intentions. This indulgence went beyond mere ignorance. It extended to admiration and even idolization. For a rising generation of strongman leaders and cultural conservatives outside Russia, Putin became a hero and a role model. They saw him as the leader who had restored Russia's status and global power, regaining territory lost when the USSR broke up. He delighted nationalists and populists worldwide by successfully defying self-righteous American liberals like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Putin's Russia became the starting point for a demand in the world for special sovereign leaders, for decisive ones. This admiration was not limited to fringe figures. Prominent politicians like Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's close advisor and lawyer, expressed admiration for Putin's annexation of Crimea, praising his decisiveness and leadership. Nigel Farage, the former leader of UKIP and the Brexit Party, and a friend of Donald Trump, named Putin as the world leader he most admired, applauding his strategic moves in Syria. Matteo Salvini, the leader of the populist right Northern League Party in Italy, openly flaunted his admiration for Putin by wearing a Putin t-shirt in Red Square. Even Rodrigo Duterte, the president of the Philippines, declared Putin as his favorite hero. Perhaps the most significant admirer of Putin is Xi Jinping, the president of China. In 2013, shortly after being appointed as president, Xi made his first state visit overseas, choosing to visit Putin in Moscow. Their close relationship has only grown stronger over the years, culminating in their 38th summit meeting in Beijing, just 20 days before the invasion of Ukraine. The joint Russian-Chinese statement that followed announced a no-limits partnership, emphasizing their united hostility towards American global power and pro-democracy movements. The admiration for Putin among world leaders is a testament to his ability to project strength and assertiveness on the global stage. Despite his secretive nature and the controversies surrounding his leadership, Putin has managed to captivate and intrigue leaders from around the world. His strongman persona, combined with his strategic moves and defiance of Western powers, has made him an icon for those who reject Western leadership and the liberal international order. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.